Okay, everybody, Attorney Walter Hnot, we are live, and just keep in mind, I'm on the farm, so you might hear a dog in the background, you might hear a horse in the background, you might hear a rider in the background screaming funny things. With that said, this video is going to focus on specifically Social Security changes going into 2026. We're going to cover retirement, disability, SSI, widows, all that kinds of stuff. That way you know exactly what's coming up. Obviously, it's December. January is around the corner. We just have to wait for Santa to do his thing, and then we get the go-ahead. That's Sweetie. All right, let's get to it real quick. The biggest item over here, Sweetie, come here. The biggest, I know. We're going to get her some wigs, and she can do her Karen show. I know, Sweetie, I know. Come here, come here, come here. I know, hold on. Let me just handle this one moment. So the first thing that we need to know about, stop pushing. Hey, be a lady. Go stand over there. All right, thank you. First thing that we need to go ahead and talk about is the COLA. Everybody thought the COLA was going to be way lower because Trump got in. Obviously, it wasn't. 2.8% cost of living adjustment. But to be fair, the first year that the president is in, usually the COLA represents the last president. And that's kind of what we saw with Biden a bit as well, although the COVID situation schmuddled it all, and we ended up with a bit of a bleep show. So bottom line is this, 2.8%. That's not a good thing. That means that you are actually not going to get enough money to go ahead and live for the next year. The lower the number, the better it is for you. The higher the number, that means the worse it is for you. A lot of people don't understand that. Here's how it works. The higher the number, the more inflation you saw basically during the timeline that's, going and looking at and saying, okay, this is what we think is an appropriate amount of an increase that people should receive. However, they modified the math so that at the end of the day, you don't get as much as you need. So every year you seem poorer. That is unfortunately by design. It is unfortunately because they're trying to find ways to pay people less and less each year. So they've modified the cost of living adjustment math so that you don't really get what the actual amount is that you need to live into the next year. Obviously, that became highly evident. It's not as evident in the 1s and the 2s and 3 percentages, but when you get into the 5 pluses, the 7, the 8 percentages, the 9 percentages, stuff like that, it's really evident because you're seeing prices go, 2x, 3x, 4x, and then all of a sudden we're sounding like one of those like super workout guys, like you can 10x. Yeah, no, the bottom line is this. I mean, the higher the number, the less money you're going to have for the next year. Even though you're getting a higher amount of money for the next year, you're not getting enough to actually cover it. All right, now just to be clear, that's going to add about $56 per month on average to retirement benefits. So, let's say like you're getting $2,015, you're going to be getting around $2,071. Bottom line is it's going to affect around 71 million Social Security recipients. But remember, they also use cost of living adjustment for different parts of the government as well. So pretty much everybody's just getting screwed over that works for, interacts with the federal government. Is that a new thing? No, that is pretty much standard operating procedure at this point. If you put your faith in the government or the government's money, you pretty much just end up with less at the end of the day. Now, item number 2 on our list, and we've got about 20 to 30 items that we're going to be going through. So you're going to know all the different things that are actually occurring. There is the maximum taxable earnings increase. That means that basically, as you know, with FICA taxes, they tax the working class 6.2% to the person, 6.2% to the company, and then an additional amount for Medicare, right? Okay, cool. So you got that. They're not increasing the 6.2% because they know that the middle class, whether it's student loans, can't afford a house, can't afford a child, can't afford anybody. The middle class can't afford the retired. That's why the trust funds are running out, among other things. But the main thing is the government didn't properly handle how they invested the money. The government didn't properly handle the math of how much money they need to take in. And at the end of the day, the dollar significantly devalued. Not blaming anybody, but there's clearly somebody to blame on that one. But the bottom line is that, unfortunately, the middle class can't afford the disabled, they can't afford the retired, etc. And you know how it works. The money you put into Social Security isn't used for you. It doesn't go into a magical, cute little bank account. It basically is used up with prior generations. So it is, unfortunately, the millennials that will be saving the day, although they can't afford to save themselves. So it's not looking great. It's just not super dupe. Big thank you, big heart to Diana here. She did a hugs to Sweetie and Shadow. I super appreciate the donation. That's absolutely amazing. Put a big heart there. Thank you, Diana. She's been with us for a very long time. You can see her membership badge there, which is absolutely amazing. Now, I want to talk about this maximum taxable earnings increase. So basically, instead of $176,100 tax. So if somebody earns from 0 to $170 in 2025, they would get taxed FICA taxes, which is, it's a lot. It's, essentially, it's 12.4% plus the Medicare on top. So, like 15-ish percentage, right around there. Just to be fair, that's a heavy, heavy burden of a tax to actually carry for any American, especially when you have countries out there that don't charge taxes nearly at that level, but still provide similar services. So the bottom line is this: they're going to raise that to a new cap, which is $184,500 in 2026. This is going to punish high earners, but basically not punish the middle class anymore. It's just going to punish them the same amount that they normally do. Pretty much every Democrat out there is promoting the theme, the ideology that they want essentially to raise or eliminate the tax cap, which is, instead of just, up to $184,500, everybody will have to pay on every dollar of income that is traditional income. They'll have to pay their FICA taxes on top of that, which would fix Social Security for a time. It would just cause all of the rich people to move out of the country and do their businesses basically with some other parent company, parent nation, as the one who's doing essentially a lot of the corporate headquarters of doing their taxes. So, instead of having their taxes be done as a corporation, mostly through the United States, they'd set it up through Ireland or one of those other places that are pretty good for tax related issues. So that would be a way, if we did it, to destroy our economy, because, the bottom line is that the rich create the jobs, which you need to pay essentially the FICA taxes for the middle class. And then, of course, the rich create the products and the services that most of us all use. So the kicker is they are a protected class. You can beat them up as much as you want. They're just going to pass on the cost to everybody down the line with the cost of their products. But it is what it is. It just is what it is. All right, next thing. The earnings limit for pre-FRA workers. So basically workers under the full retirement age. FRA is always full retirement age. We're talking like 67, right now, can earn up to $24,480, which is for 2026. It's up from $23,400 2025. Before ... $1 in benefits is withheld from every $2 earned over the limit. And this is one of these, pre-FRA things. So if you retire before you hit full retirement age, and the bottom line is, if you work, you're going to get effed if you earn over a certain amount. So just be aware of the new amount that if you earn over it, they're going to go ahead and put their hand on your shoulder and say, gimme, gimme, gimme. It is $24,480. Again, $24,480. You earn above that, and they're going to start taking the retirement money from you. Now, you might ask politically why we are taxing retired people. Trump started to change that. Did he did some tax stuff, that basically helped the retired. But at the end of the day, to be clear, we are taxing the retired in this manner for a couple reasons and a couple of years. But the main reason is because the federal government is a total and complete disgusting shit show when it comes to how to handle money properly. As you have noticed over the past couple of months, many members of Congress, many members of the state political rings have been arrested or are going to be arrested for multi-million, sometimes billion-dollar fraud. And I guess what my point to you is that people who become politicians are usually failed lawyers, and they're failed lawyers because they couldn't get clients and they couldn't follow the law. And we put them in charge of the largest piggy bank on planet Earth, which then got us 38 trillion in debt. So, really, we need to stop allowing them to have power. We need to, basically just have a little self-absorption, grab a pillow, hug it, sit on the couch, and realize that the federal government is not the means to a successful nation. That's unfortunately where we're at this point. All right, next one. So there's the earnings limit for a year of FRA workers. So basically, again, full retirement age. Those reaching the full retirement age when they get, in 2026. So you reach your 67 years old in 2026, can earn up to $65,160 in 2026. So $65K in 2025. It was $62K, $62,160 before $1 withheld from every $3 over until the full retirement age month. is reached. So the bottom line is, when you reach full retirement age, they take less money from you and they allow you to earn more. So it's weird. If you take retirement benefits early and you work, they're going to punish you more aggressively than if you reach full retirement age. Then when you reach full retirement age, they allow you to earn more and not take as much from your retirement benefits, which, to be honest, with the nation that's trying to get people to go back to work, it is a good example of stupidity personified from these moron politicians that they haven't abolished that rule. Because if you want people to work and earn, if you need to increase the pool of people paying taxes, maybe perhaps since you cannot grab people under a certain age because they don't have mental faculties, maybe you can grab the people who are in retirement age to try and do functional jobs and not tax away and take away their retirement benefits. But again, I just work here. I don't run the government, so we can't apply my logic because it would only fix things. Next thing that they're going to change is the SSI maximum payment raise. I do see the person in the comments who wants to know what their SSI is going to be. Let's go through it. They're raising it from $967 for 2025 up to a maximum of $994 in 2026. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking that's not enough to be able to survive. Yeah, I know. I know. There's not, look, if we didn't pay for that many immigrants during Biden's era, if we didn't give that much money away to other nations, if we, and we're doing the right thing with tariffs at this point because the American people need the economy, and a lot of Social Security recipients don't understand why tariffs are important. Yes, they're important because they reestablish our dominance in reserve currency, and yes, our dollar will devalue as a result of our dollars being used more aggressively by more nations internationally. Yes, that's important. All of it's important, but the reason it's really important is that at the end of the day, it basically makes the US dollar strong going forward for the retired and disabled and SSI recipients, because if we don't have a strong dollar, your retirement benefits will devalue significantly. And I don't mean you will get less of those dollars. I mean, those dollars, even if they give you more, will mean less. You won't be able to buy the same stuff at the grocery store. You won't be able to buy the same stuff at Home Depot. You won't be able to buy the same stuff when it comes to medical, whatever needs that you have. So it is crucial that we have these tariffs. And it's weird because I have people call me angry about what Trump did with tariffs. And I'm like, I don't think you have a basic understanding as to how economics works when it comes to international reserve currency. And then I explain it to them 3 times and then they get it. Then they realize. But I am truly, I'm an independent, registered independent voter. I got to tell you, the level of manipulation on the Democrat side has gotten to the point where they have convinced people at this point economic policies that would essentially save them. They have convinced them that those economic policies are sharks in the water. And it's mind-blowing for me. I don't know how that many people can be manipulated. I don't know how people became that easily just mind entrapped in the I was just watching what's her name? The Republican that's probably going to get arrested. I mean, she's what's her name? It's not the Republican, the Democrat. Let's see. She was I think 20th district, 5 million. Let me see her name. I think it's like Crochet. I forget her name because it's Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine. I was watching her last night, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt when she was giving a speech on the news. I got to be honest with you. I'm noticing that the politicians tend to be very good at giving speeches. They don't actually fully understand what they're saying, but people wrote the speeches for them. I have to be honest with you. The level of manipulation in that speech was very high and very polished. And I can see why people like her, but she is a complete moron. She is a low IQ, complete idiot. Like, I am amazed at how she was able to manipulate, and her style and her passion and her rock star. Like, she's got it. She has it. I mean, she also, it appears, committed some crimes in there as well. Some very spicy things. It's going to be very interesting with this whole money situation with her. But at the end of the day, I got to be honest with you. I don't know why you guys are voting for idiots sometimes. I don't, if you can't see it, like, they're pulpit pushing, they're, doing the swagger and swing. You got to remember, the politicians you want are the ones with the plan. Now, granted, Trump doesn't have shit for a plan when it comes to healthcare. He's been talking about this amazing plan he's had forever, right? It's at the contemplative phase of blah, 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 whatever. He doesn't have a plan realistically. And you know what's happening? The health insurers took control. They overcharged. They kept overcharging each year. The politicians said we need to step in. The government took over it. The government can't run shit for anything. The government is now charging way too much to do what they need to do to go ahead and watch those things. So they could have just fined and forced these medical facilities and these medical insurance groups to not abuse the American people with pay increases and cost increases for all their plans. They could have done that, but they didn't. They said, we're going to get fully invested and do this ourselves. Every time the government gets involved with something, ask anybody in the military, it turns to a fiscal masterpiece failure. It is a total and complete disgusting shit show. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling through here. Next one that we're going to talk about is basically this: maximum retirement benefit increases. Here we go. So basically, the top monthly payout for someone retiring has officially reached $5,181. It is up from $5,108 in 2025. Again, $5,181 in 2026 is the maximum. Retire at 70. You've paid in the maximum amount of, FICA taxes, SICA taxes, basically during the proper years that required. Those people can get up to $5,181 because basically they've had 35 years of the maximum earning capacity, that cap. They've earned that cap or more for the past 35 years. So basically, the billionaires and the ultra millionaires, those people essentially fall into that category where they're getting the highest FICA taxes. Now, you might think that that's not fair, but the truth is, if you look at the bend points on the graph, the people who get screwed over the most, I would say, are the middle class because they pay a bunch and they don't get a bunch. It's actually the poor and like the homeless. They get the most amount of Social Security benefits if they have enough quarters of coverage because of those bend points. Those bend points drastically increase the amount of benefits that an impoverished person gets. So if you're sitting there with like $1,200 check from SSDI, $1,400 check for retirement, you're actually getting vastly more than you shoulda, woulda, coulda if it was a fair chart. The chart with the bend points, the thing is this: the middle class, the people who are working their entire life, earning the middle class earnings, they're getting a mass decrease in what they should get because they're paying for a lot of poor. Same with the rich as well. A lot of the money they put in, obviously the rich pay a massive amount. They're paying max out each time. But the bottom line is the rich, they pay the max amount of their full, max cap of Social Security FICA taxes, and they're getting the least because the bend points basically don't allow them to collect as much. And it just is what it is. It just is what it is. All right, next one. How much you need to earn 1/4 of coverage, one credit, one QC. A lot of people don't know what quarters of coverage are, and I know Sweetie's going to start barking soon because she's doing the whiny thing. Give me one moment. Hold on. We have to refill Karen's mouth real quick. Hold on. Don't push the bag. Okay. You want to see her? Let's see if she comes up here. You going to come up? No, she doesn't care. She don't care. Yeah, I see. You don't have to push the bag. I got it. All right. Here you go. Here, have the treat. You want the treat? You don't want the treat? Sweetie, you're so difficult. You're so difficult sometimes. All right, so here's basically the bottom line, okay? Sweetie is upset because she had breakfast and now she wants lunch, but it's not lunchtime yet. So you know how it is. When you're Sweetie, you get what you want, okay? I've got some blonde wigs coming from her. We're going to dress her up as Karen for the holidays. All right, here we go. So bottom line is this. Earnings for one credit, 1/4 of coverage. A lot of people don't know how the game of quarters of coverage works. It's not complex. It's not difficult. For retirement, you need 40 of these pups, right? You need 40 quarters of coverage, 40 credits. For disability, you need enough for your age, and they have to be recently earned, right? So in order to earn them, in 2025, you needed $1,730. $1,730, right? However, for 2026, you need $1,890. Again, $1,890. Sweetie, what? What's your deal? Take your treat. Here, take your treat. Here, take it. Take it right there. Go get it. Go get it. She's just going to bitch me out. You're going to see. You know what I mean? When people are like, hey, you should get a female dog. Should you? Should you? Look, look, I don't know if you can see her right here. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Just right there. She's right there. She's unhappy. She's not happy. She's a big girl, and she's just not happy. All right, so let's keep rocking through this thing real quick. All right, so the bottom line is this, okay? Oh, she's coming up. No, she's coming up. It's going to happen now. Come on, you want to come up? Hi. What you doing? You want to say hi? She's like, no. All right, so let's keep rocking through this thing. Sorry, the camera's all smudged now. Let me get this. Hold on. You know what the table? Oh, we're okay. We're okay. The table's not perfect. It's a farm table. It's old. It's got one of those like center things where it splits and the split isn't working. All right. So bottom line is this: 1/4 of coverage is going to cost you $1,890. You can get up to 4 of those per year, and then they cut you off. They won't allow you to get any more. So if you pull out our calculator, hold on, we're going to do some basic math. Remember, millennials don't do math, and I'm one of the oldest millennials that exists. I'm like the elderly millennial. Hold on. All right. So we need calculator. All right. 1,890. Let's figure this out real quick. 1,890 times 4. So you got to earn 7,560, sweetie. Don't be a chubby chub. So you got to earn $1,560. Again, $1,560. Okay. Before you get to, $1,890, but you need $7,560 before you hit the maximum amount of quarters of coverage you can earn in 1 year. Why are QCs important? They are the gatekeepers. These quarters of coverage are like the giant, solid built dude with a big knife and a big thing, and he's like, and a harp, and he's like, you can't come in unless I sing my song for you. They are the gatekeepers for allowing people to receive benefits. So you got to have enough quarters of coverage. You got to pay the piper to be able to get access to Social Security. So when you're sitting there thinking like, wow, I didn't realize Social Security, I thought it was super socialism, communism. It's actually capitalism or socialism. It's capitalism, socialism, because you got to pay to play. Now, if it's SSI, you don't have to pay to play. If you're over 65, you're disabled, or basically an immigrant, then you can access, and immigrants are limited to, of course, the asylum seekers, refugees, and those who are trafficked. But under the Biden era, everybody falls in those categories for the most part. Hey, hub, hey. So with that said, let's keep rocking and rolling. Next one. There's the enhanced senior tax deduction. It's a senior bonus. Remember, Trump was like, we shouldn't tax seniors on the retirement benefits. And then he kind of like fell short of actually kicking the ball. New provision, one big beautiful bill, July 2025, adds an extra standard deduction for those 65 plus on federal taxes. So bottom line is that it reduces taxes on Social Security benefits for many individuals. But keep in mind, 50% of the people who are basically working while receiving retirement benefits are still going to be affected to some degree by taxes. And of course, it expires in 2028. He couldn't really negotiate more than that. That was the main thing. But just remember, what I always think is interesting is that I used to think Democrats were the ones that were going to cancel taxes on tips and cancel taxes on retired people and cancel taxes on like disabled shouldn't be paying any taxes anywhere. They should have like a magical card that says I'm disabled, no taxes. They shouldn't be paying any taxes. You go to the store, disabled should not be paying taxes. Like, they just shouldn't. I get that it's used as a means to bolster our economy, but that's a little bit effed up if you have disabled people who can't work paying taxes. To me, that's like, how the hell did we get this shitty of a nation? I don't know. But anyways, the point I'm getting at is at the end of the day, it looks like a state is still going to tax people on tips. It looks like basically the Republicans are the ones that are starting to come out with ways to not hurt Social Security benefits. Everything's flipped. How you'd expect Democrats to be like the savior of Social Security benefits and the savior of minorities and the savior of this and that. It's just not that way anymore. I don't know what the hell happened. It's like their main focus is Muslim, LGBTQ plus. That's their whole thing. And immigrants. That's their whole thing. Immigrants, LGBTQ plus, Muslims. That's like they want that. That's their whole big thing right now. I don't understand it. I don't really agree with it. I mean, obviously, I want everybody to be supported in some way. But have you noticed that the country has so many loopholes at this point that it's like, in order for you to succeed as a disabled or a retired person, you have to like perfectly stay within the lines of what you can have, what you can earn, how much medicine you can get. It's just ridiculous now. It is obnoxious how aggressive they put you in a box, and you can't get out of the box even if you wanted to. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with America. I'm not happy with what it's been doing. But we do live in a country, once again, where we can change it, and that's important. Okay, we're not Afghanistan, we're not Iraq, we're not places like that. Which, by the way, if you get a chance to look at the early photos and videos of Afghanistan and Iraq, it's shocking, absolutely shocking how culturally they were different back then. Not saying good or bad. I'm just saying it was shocking. Okay, very shocking. All right, now let's look at Medicare Part B premium hike. So basically, Part B, that's kind of like what everybody looks at for like what's Medicare going to do, how expensive is Medicare going to be. Medicare hike is going to go up to $202.90 for $202.90 for 2026, up $17.90 from $185 in 2025. So that would be deducted from most Social Security checks. But remember, I don't do Medicare stuff. If you have Medicare questions, give my boys a call here, right here, askchapter.org/disability, free Medicare help 339-226-6287. I don't sign people up for Medicare. I'm never going to sign people up for Medicare. It's not my jam. It's not where I like to live in the legal world. If you have questions, you want to know about all the fraud that's going on, whether your doctors are getting arrested, whether your nurses are getting arrested, whether your back office are getting arrested, for the people that treat you, give them a call. They are following that more closely than I am. Again, I don't do Medicare. Give them a call. Perfect. I got to get this thing like put up here or something, just like right there. All right. I got to get a clamp. All right. With that said, just to be real clear with this, I want to go through some of the basics here. Next thing that you need to know is this. There's a 50% cut in field office visits. So the SSA plans to reduce in-person visits to 15 million from 31.6 million in 2025. By pushing online phone service and basically having it be all about the website and all about phone service. Now, I don't know if you notice, I'm sorry about the hair again. It's just, it does what it wants. It's just, there's that one piece right there and it does what it wants. I don't know if what is up with that? Come on now. It's all falling out right in the middle and everything else just having a party up there. It's like a drunk at a 50 Cent concert. All right. So here's the deal. What is that? It doesn't matter. All right. So here's the bottom line. All right. So the issue is that the SSA back in Martin O'Malley's time, which was Biden's only great saving grace, that and Commissioner Kijikazi. Martin O'Malley, Commissioner Kijikazi, although I was more preferable to Martin O'Malley. I think he did some crazy stuff, but he did ride the coattails of Commissioner Kijikazi. Basically, they said, look, they don't have enough personnel working at the SSA to have all the field offices open. So the place where you used to be able to go uninhibited to get a check-in on all of this money you paid into the government to be able to get your check and properly handle stuff, they closed that and said only if you have appointments and only if it's an emergency, only in the rare instance in which we don't have people to see, what can we pull you in? So now what they're saying is the SSA is saying we actually love not having to see you. So we're going to cut it and try and have even less. Now, remember, in 2025, they had already closed the offices because they closed the offices to the general public in 2024, unless you have appointments and stuff like that. In 2025, they saw a big reduction in the amount of visits. And now 2025 to 2026, they're trying to literally reduce the amount of people visiting the office by 50%. Hold on. What's going on? Oh, sorry. The manure wagon is crossing across and Sweetie doesn't know what to do with it. Sweetie, come here. Come here, my chub. Come here, Sweetie. Come here. I know. Come here. Come be my... No. Hey, Chubalina. I can't. She's too upset. She's just distraught. She has PTSD probably. I'm not sure. Sweetie, come here. Where? I'm so sorry. Just give her a moment. She will calm down. Sweetie, come here. It's gonna be okay. Life goes on. The manure wagons happen. Sweetie, come here. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Just give me one second. Sweetie McChubby butt. Come here. All right, so here's what you need to know. No, stop. You stop being a Chubbins. You're being a Chubbins. You coming up? Ooh, it's a big problem with you today. I'm so upset because I'm sweetie. No, come here. You want daddy to hug you? You want daddy to hug you? Come here. Come here. Oh, you are so fluffy. Come here. Getting fur all over the place. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. All right. Stay here. Stay here with me. All right. I know. Stop whining and complaining. You're always bitching. Look. This is the Chubalina. I know. She's so scared of the manure wagon. It's going to eat her alive. It makes big scary sounds. All right. So here's basically what you need to know as I completely destroy the camera setup. That's close enough. I mean, hold on. Let me just whip it. There we go. All right. So here's what you need to know. Basically, they are trying. So you know how you paid money your entire life into this program at the federal government? Oh my goodness. Hold on. I may have to put Sweetie in the other room because otherwise, Sweetie, no. You come here. So you know how they basically did that? Yeah. So now they're going to cut it in half and say, we're trying to reduce even more the amount of people that come to this office because as much as we love people receiving their benefits, we would prefer not to see them. That's basically where they're at with that. Next thing you need to know, Social Security Fairness Act implementation. So remember when basically Biden was like, I don't know if I'm going to pass this Social Security Fairness Act. And then, they went to Trump and Trump was like, well, I'll pass it. And then when Biden heard that, Biden was like, oh shit, now I got to pass it. And then he passed it like at the final days of his presidency in January. That is, yeah. So anyways, bottom line is this, that continues. It basically boosts benefits for those individuals who are essentially receiving a double pension. It is kind of funny how they called it the Social Security Fairness Act because it was put in place because people receiving double pensions were getting essentially more money than they should have because of the bend points. Because when they got one pension and they paid into one pension, that one pension paid out the full amount. And then when they didn't pay as much into the Social Security pension, the Social Security pension thought they were super poor and not receiving that extra pension. And because the Social Security pension thought they were poor, they got to have the impoverished person's, boost, the bend point that specifically boosted their benefits. So it was like fair because they were already getting another pension. They shouldn't get the boost on top of that. But instead of that, the politicians said, we're going to call it the Social Security Fairness Act, even though technically it was the Unfairness Act. Anyways, bottom line, that continues. Next one. What's going on? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't click that button. So there we go. All right. So here's the bottom line here. Oh, I think Sweetie's tail hit a cord. It hit a cord. All right, here we go. Now, there's an online account login transition. All of your My Social Security accounts must use login.gov or ID.me starting early 2026. It's being phased out from 2025. The bottom line is that instead of having like a username and a password, you're going to have a digital identification that basically is going to follow you into receiving your benefits. Some people are not used to ID.me, people like me who are part of the government in many ways because I have to sign into the SSA stuff. I have to sign into the VA stuff. We're used to the digital identification stuff. But yes, you will be partaking in, because you all wanted it, just kidding, a digital identification for logging into these websites. These digital IDs are basically the new way it's going. Many of you don't realize that this is a digital ID, but yes, you will be using this to be able to log in and get your benefits, seek your benefits, understand information on your benefits. So there you go. It is what it is. All right, next thing. All right, benefit notices distribution. So basically, you're going to be able to see online what you're going to get from your cost of living adjustment. You're going to be able to see the increases that you should be able to receive, and it'll be customized to your specific amount. So that's nice. You'll also have an update form for the 1099 for the SSA. Tax forms will be reporting basically the new benefits you receive, the new COLA amounts. All that stuff is going to be available on your mysocialsecurity.gov account. You just have to use your digital ID to log into it. What else do you need to know? They are still keeping, obviously, the retirement age maximum amount and the full retirement age at essentially 67. They are trying to push through legislation benefit to minimum benefit, average benefit, and maximum benefit. It's something like that. It's not exactly like that, but they're basically trying to educate people that if you take retirement benefits at 62, you're getting a very, very small amount. If you take them at 70, you're getting the largest amount. But to be fair, to be realistic, they're all low. They're not good. All of them are a very, very low amount. So, and remember, if you take retirement benefits at 70, the break even is like, I don't know, it's like 8 or 9 years down the line for when you would break even from just taking them at 62. So if you think you're going to live into your 80s, then you might want to wait a little bit to receive your retirement benefits. If you think you're not going to live to your 80s, then you would have to be a mathematical whoopsie to actually take them when you reach 67 or 70. It just doesn't mathematically make sense. Next thing. Okay. So the bend points for a primary insurance amount, the PIA recalculation, basically they're going to rise a bit, rise to $1,226 from $1,174 in 2025. So 2026, $1,226. Second to the $7,391 from the $7,078. Bottom line is the bend points are adjusting to continue to promote the impoverished to basically the negative of the middle class. It's just, you could say, well, that's really helping the middle class. No, it's helping the poor because there's just more poor in that lower bubble, even though they earn more money now than they've ever earned before. So it's not helping the middle class. It's just helping the poor. And that's fine, just is what it is. Remember, the program is set up to make sure people don't go hungry, to make sure people have housing, even though most SSI people can't afford housing unless they're on subsidized government allowances. So yeah, which is interesting too, because when you think about it, a lot of people don't realize, but SSI recipients, they don't get enough to afford enough. So most of them have to live in a room of a friend, live in a garage, live in some cabin out in the back, or they have to be in government subsidized housing, which means the government pays for their money and it pays for their health insurance through Medicaid. It pays for their monthly amount through general taxes. And then on top of that, depending on if it's the county or the state or the feds, then they have federal housing, pay for the housing on top of it. That is called a failed system. And it's very similar to what we have for medical insurance right now. That is also called a failed system. But unfortunately, we don't really have a fix for it. I think what they're trying to do is just figure out where the fraud and the waste is and then go from there to get a baseline. All right, next one. The survivor's benefit maximum adjustment. So maximum family survivor benefit cap will rise from $3,565 to $3,721 in 2026. So quite a boost there. $3,565 to $3,721. That's pretty good. That supports more survivors. That's like your widows, your children. Still doesn't exceed the 150 to 180% of the deceased worker's benefit. So just keep that in mind. But it does aid around 6 million beneficiaries, so that is important. Next one is the disability bend point update. So basically, the disability computation for bend points, just to be clear, which is different from the bend points for primary insurance amount. But the disability bend point update is going from $1,108 to $1,157. And it's going also from the second to $6,671 to $6,969. Just to be clear, that kind of boosts your SSDI payments for new awards for basically people who are more on the poorer side of receiving SSDI benefits. So if you're in the under 15,000-ish area, 15,580, or sorry, 1,000, sorry, not 15,000, $1,586. If you're on the lesser of that side, you're probably getting the boost of bend points that help you. If you're on the upper of that side, the bend points are screwing you over a bit. You're not getting as much as you should. And that's just, it is the way it works. It is how we did it. SSI resource limit is unchanged. Now, a lot of you are thinking, why do we have super poor people? And why do we have all these restrictions on their ability to work when we need workers to work? Well, that would be because we have failed politicians, and the politicians, look, to fix SSI, you need the ideas of the Democrats to come out of the mouths of the Republicans when it comes to SSI work options, right? To increase the allowable amounts that SSI people can do to work. My brilliant idea, which nobody in Congress seems to like, is that for all SSI and SSDI people, you don't charge them the first 4 quarters of coverage. You don't take away from them anything. You let them earn their first 4 quarters of coverage, because that is most likely to create a scenario where they will want to work, not be penalized for working, adds more to the trust funds, and gets more SSI people transitioning and SSDI people transitioning to retirement benefits. Unfortunately, our politicians at this point on the left and the right side have not turned their brain on to realize that this is a brilliant idea. It is the smartest idea when it comes to fixing disability benefits and getting people to put money into the trust funds and getting people off of SSI and onto retirement. It is the smartest idea. I am the one who came up with it, and nobody seems to give a shit about it because they don't like it, because they're letting people who are disabled work, which is weird because we need more workers to pay more taxes to afford all the bullshit that we spend money on. All right, next one. So basically, SSI people are still stuck with the resource limit of $2,000, $3,000 for basically a couple, which is ridiculous because if they earn more, they're going to get stuff and it's going to instantly go over $2,000. Also, $2,000 doesn't really make sense anymore when it comes to people who are impoverished. There's just everything costs so much now. Remember, now they're allowed to have one car, one house, and they don't count. But remember when a car, you could get a junk car and still use it for $2,000. That junk car is like $6,000 to $8,000 now. So it's just everything costs vastly more to be able to do anything, which is why, ironically, when people are like, yeah, Biden was so great for the disabled and the SSI recipients, the correct answer is that would be a lie. That is incorrect. He did not handle our economy properly, which greatly reduced the value of the dollar, which hurt mostly the fragile class of people, which are the disabled, retired, and SSI recipients, including the widows and the widowed children. So just to be clear, no, it was not a good 4 years for the disabled. Medicare Part D premium, basically stabilization is occurring, lowers out-of-pocket drug costs for about $13 million. Average savings will be about $500 a year, but premiums, they ultimately may rise, maybe about 5, maybe about 7, maybe about 6%, somewhere in there overall. Then you have the enhanced My Social Security features that are coming out because Frank Bisignano really likes AI. He's all about AI. AI to Frank Bisignano is sexy, and I can't disagree. It's got some real benefits, but do we put a nice little bikini on it? I think that's what we're doing at this point. We're making it work for humans until it basically doesn't want to work for humans anymore. So, anyways, bottom line is they got a new dashboard, new tools, new projections, new updates. It allows you to plan more for your retirement, which, to be fair, Americans don't do a lot of, but I don't blame them because who the hell wants to figure all that out when you're living La Vida Loca? Anyways, next one. You got the Retroactive Fairness Act payments processing. So SSA has begun distributing $10 billion in back payments for the Social Security Fairness Act with the repeal of the WEP and GPO. It is prioritizing those back pay payments. So basically, people with 2 pensions are now getting a massive windfall of back pay on top of things. Look, a lot of them are teachers. A lot of them are, sheriffs and police officers. A lot of them are people who had a different pension that they paid into. Do I think we should be giving people more money? Absolutely. Was this the way to do it? Absolutely not. But who cares? Because, we're just going to go ahead and erase all the 1979 and 1983 changes that were put in place to save the trust funds. We're just going to erase those. But the bottom line is, just to be clear, average lump sum is around $3,500. And it goes to people who worked usually in some way. Could be somebody who worked in the railroad industry. Could be somebody who worked with some company that didn't do the Social Security Trust Fund option when paying. But the point is, it's people who are dual pension. I do understand the other argument. Where you have veterans who are police officers who also retired that are getting 3 pension checks. And, they're probably getting anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, a month. It's not 15 grand. It's more like 10 to, I'd say, 12 plus grandish around there a month. When they're in the retired state, you got to understand they served, they did their thing. Some of you didn't. So, they live a very relaxed, collecting a bunch of pensions life. They're not super stressed. They did the military thing. They did the law enforcement thing. They get their retirement check on top. The retirement check isn't always as big unless they worked, unless they stacked it and worked the 35 years or a chunk of years thereafter. So, it just is what it is. But I do get it. A lot of people say, hey, that's too much. Why are they getting so much? But at the same time, government supports government, and they usually have gov jobs. So that's kind of how it is. Next one. Okay, they're going to go ahead and do work incentives expansions under the Tick to Work program. So the cost of living adjusted trial work period threshold rises to $1,130 a month. Extended eligibility for SSI and SSDI. So basically, they're trying to push people to do employment for 250,000 disabled beneficiaries so that they don't have immediate benefit loss. This ties into the 2.8% COLA increase. But the bottom line is they're increasing the work period threshold. So like if you go ahead and earn up to that amount, just to be, just to kind of understand it, then usually, you're not having a massive reduction in your benefits. But if you earn over that amount, right, then they're going to take away your benefit check and just expect you to work kind of gig. So that's the direction. The Ticket to Work program could be 5 years, could be 7 years, could be whatever, but it's a contract you sign to go and work. It's a care program to get you off of disability benefits, whether it's SSI or SSDI. Now, there are also foreign work reporting thresholds, earnings that are mostly going to affect veterans who live abroad. Earnings limit for U.S. benefits while working abroad adjusts to $24,480. There's a new online reporting portal. It's going to basically hit 100,000 expat retirees, prevents overpayments, simplifies compliance. But basically, if you're working overseas, $24,480. That's going to be your cutoff limit right there. Then you have Social Security Administration cybersecurity enhancements. They're going to be basically doing mandatory two-factor authentication for all claims. They're using AI, OIG, to basically do more fraud detection services for direct deposits and requesting money and changing identification information. But basically, AI is going to be a major driving force of overseeing what happens with your money as you're receiving it and how you want to request things related to it. Okay. Next thing, spousal and divorced spouse benefit tweaks. So the minimum spousal benefit rises to 37.5% of workers' PIA. The 10-year marriage rule basically continues. Bottom line is spouses, ex-spouses, divorced spouses, stuff like that, their benefits are going to increase as well. Survivors benefits, child in care is going to continue to rise as well. As you know, basically they have a limit for that up to 18 years, but 19 if you're still in school. COLA does apply to that as well. All right. So remember too, there is potentially new overpayment rules coming out that they say are going to soften how aggressive they are with taking money from you. Basically, there's a new good faith, quote, unquote, waiver expansion. And basically, the installment plans are capped at 10% of monthly benefits. But that is also to be considered against the fact that they just raised the minimum that the SSA can collect from overpayments from $10. They just increased it to $50. So while, yes, they have a good faith waiver expansion, the poor people who don't really have money for these overpayments are now going to have to, no matter what, hit $50 of repayment, unless, of course, they run out of all potential options. And then they have to look at, how far out they can basically charge somebody for the rest of their life some money to repay the government. Now, annual earnings record review. Basically, the SSA emails all workers to verify records, automated corrections for discrepancies over $500. They're basically going ahead and doing an audit, if you will, of annual earnings records. That's the main thing. They're trying to figure out who, what, when, and where has proper earnings records, because some people have been able to claim that they've had earnings and did earnings and stuff like that. And the bottom line now is that they're trying to go ahead and figure out essentially who actually worked at the jobs they did and who actually got paid the money that they did get paid. Now, the big thing here is that, as you know, Frank Bisignano. Oh, sure. Yeah. So the phone number, just, thank you, Leanne. Thank you. The phone number, just so you guys know, is 407-279-1754. As you guys know, if you want to reach the law firm, that's how you reach it. I am America's most viewed, subscribed to, and clicked on disability attorney. the most chosen online for viewership, disability attorney in America. So if you need help with applying for disability benefits, fighting to go ahead and try and win it at administrative law judge hearing, that's what I do all day when I'm not doing YouTube. Although I'm doing it early today because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do YouTube later tonight because of outside work on the farm. I am on the farm right now. So I do that basically after the 9 to 5 when I'm on the farm. Now, with that said, just to be clear, the IRS and the SSA are more integrated now than they have ever been. Frank Bisignano has been made the CEO of the IRS. Bottom line is this: he's also the commissioner of the SSA. He's working to make sure that all the programs and integrations are streamlined between the two systems. So basically, they streamlined Form W-4V updated. They defaulted 7% withholding option for benefits to align with the senior deduction. They're trying to simplify taxes for $20 million and then reduce the overpayment penalties by 25% overall. We'll see if they can actually pull it off. It's a little tricky. Medicare Part B income bracket adjustment. The IRMAA threshold rise with COLA. Basically, low surcharges starts at $112,000 individual income up from $106,000 in 2025. The SSI federal 32 matching rates are updated. So states optional SSI supplemental adjust with 2.8% COLA. So just so you guys understand, so the federal government and the states sometimes go ahead and put more money into an SSI person's account because the state is too expensive to live in. Every state is too expensive to live in for SSI, but some of the states, they're Democrat states. They're super blue states. Blue states are obviously more expensive to live in than red states. But, because they're all about taxes, tax. So it's just more expensive, and things just cost more in the blue states. So, they're looking at essentially, what are reimbursement costs? How much are going to be state supplementals? What are the state supplementals going to increase to? But remember, they do about 1.2 million in supplemental programs. New York, California, they do that stuff. So, sometimes they get $20, sometimes they get $50, whatever. But point is, a lot of the blue states, the biggie states, they will supplement the SSI people with an additional amount because it's just too expensive to exist in America, unfortunately, at these locations because they're just poorly run. The medical facilities in blue states tend to be better, although Texas and Florida are probably going to surpass that at some point. But in blue states, if you want medical treatment, that tends to be better. Otherwise, economically, things are vastly more expensive in California, vastly more expensive in places like New York. But it just is what it is, although Florida is becoming quite expensive as well. Now, next one. They did a delayed retirement credit finalization. So basically 8% annual credit for delaying past full retirement age caps, age 70. So, they did no changes to that. It's still standardized. Also, they're doing more audits, CDR audits, internal audits, high value claim audits, high back pay payout claim audits, high back pay / retroactive claim audits. More and more claims are going to be going from and this is what's expected, the ALJ. So if you have a judge decide a claim with the SSA, expect more of those claims to be reviewed with AI at appeals counsel for a higher judge to say, no, even though you were found disabled by an administrative law judge, we are disagreeing with that. We are changing that. We are a higher level of judge. And then, of course, they are now doing more targeted outreach. Again, during the Biden era, there was a lot of outreach for indigenous people, Native Americans, Native Pacific Islanders. They're now starting to target campaigns for veterans, rural seniors, non-English speakers, basically true immigrants, or not immigrants, true people who lived in this country before anybody else got here, Native Americans, Native Pacific Islanders, etc. That's going to be their main thing. They're going to reach about 5 million to improve enrollment rates so that those people can get the benefits they deserve, which is what we want. We want the right amount, the right time, paid basically, in the right way, whatever. They want things to be done properly. So there is your massive amount of changes going to 2026 for Social Security benefits. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to call the law firm and have me work on your claim for Social Security disability benefits, please call 407-279-1754. Again, 407-279-1754. Also, I'll try to go live tonight, but no promises. to go ahead and do free answers and questions. Also, keep in mind, this is important because I have to actually run from this to go do a private session. Also, please keep in mind, I do private sessions where if you already have benefits, you're looking to file, but you're not ready yet, you want to figure out what you need to do, or you have an OIG investigation problem, that's fine. I do a half an hour or 1 hour private consultation. Mini contract is below. I will catch you all later tonight or tomorrow. You have an amazing, amazing and wonderful day. Please remember to like, subscribe, hype, and I'll catch you later. Thank you so much, everybody. Have fun. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.